Alright guys, Kremp again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Shotzzy's been showing SlasheR exactly why he seems to want the game slowed down right now with an absolute masterclass in a couple of 8 series last night. SlasheR made the claim the other day the game right now plays far too quickly. We might need to increase the respawn delay to slow down players like Shotzzy, but that does not seem like it's going to be easy. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. First of all, Doug Levy put this together. I thought it was kind of nice actually looking at of the players on the respective rosters. Who did they first ever play for in the CDL? We know that for FaZe, Simp, aBeZy and Cellium all played their first series in the CDL for Atlanta FaZe, of course. But Drazah played his first series of FaZe with OpTic Gaming Los Angeles. So a little bit different, of course, to OpTic Gaming today, but I guess technically that kind of works out. There are some teams where this is rather substantially different. He did clarify a couple of corrections here. So Nero, he started his career on Boston rather than what he's assigned to here on that brand new, of course, Minnesota team for the upcoming season. And also Metals actually did play with Toronto back in 2019. But interesting just to see how this goes across the league. It's a relatively interesting split, I suppose, because you have the Falcons guys just playing for Falcons. There's quite a few here from Toronto, obviously on Boston with the likes of Cammy, who's over there, Scrappy on Los Angeles Thieves, a couple of the Toronto boys still there, and then of course Hicksy's gone to Vancouver. So, you know, Toronto has pretty good representation here. There's a few from OpTic as well, as you might well expect. Huntsman as well, making a notice here on Los Angeles Thieves, a couple from the Subliners also, and actually a fair few, maybe surprisingly, from the Los Angeles Grillers. Florida still getting a mention on this one. I guess, like, look, if they did debut for that team, then of course it's always still going to be that team on this type of graphic. But nonetheless, a little bit interesting to see the spread across the league. This was a big note though of yesterday on what the situation is going to be with Crimsix. This was confirmed on the 8th of February last year when Crimsix officially joined FaZe Clan. Now, it's been an interesting few months for Krim and for this whole situation in general, right? Because Krim joined FaZe as a sim racer, basically. They were joining, I think, Rensport or R1. I forget the name of that game, but there was a new sim racing game that was coming out. They wanted Krim to be one of their drivers for it. Krim did that. He wasn't very good. He was, put up against sim racers that had done it for 20 years, and it was a massive learning curve. And he got better over time, but he wasn't where he wanted to be. And really, he wants to race in real life. That's the thing with sim racing. It's like in Call of Duty. You can't play COD in real life, but you can sim race in real life. It's called real life racing. So that's what Krim wanted to do, and of course joined FaZe to do so. But then when he made the transition into actual real life racing with the Rafa Racing Club, then the situation with FaZe slowly diminished, it seemed. Of course, they were paying him a lot of money to race for them and to, obviously be a content creator for the brand. FaZe then restructured to some degree. They changed up the ownership. Banks is back, and they did a few things behind the scenes. Many individuals, therefore, were going to be off the books, and Crimsix was one of those. And I think this was somewhat inevitable anyway. He was already partnering with the Rafa Racing Club, or whatever, that basically racing team that he was working with. And I guess there was nothing really so much for FaZe to actually gain out of the relationship. The question, though, is, as of yesterday, Crimsix confirmed, as we can see in this tweet right about here, that he's no longer affiliated with FaZe. So, yeah, as he says, for those of you who keep asking, no, I'm no longer affiliated with FaZe Clan. So what does this mean? Is it opening the door to something else? I think there's a decent chance that it potentially is. We know the theories right now about potentially Crimsix's return to OpTic. It's been talked about for some time, and this was mentioned, of course, by Porsche in a press release on the 24th of September now, when they mentioned in the article that basically he's been recapturing his dream with that former organization. I think that's basically what it says in the article. So if you scroll down, it says the following: racing with Rafa Racing by JDX, and now reunited with his old esports team OpTic Gaming. So this was end of September. People were saying, oh, effectively Krim must be back on OpTic based on this information. It wasn't so clear, but then of course he's tweeting out yesterday that no, he's no longer with FaZe. We know that of course he turned up to the OpTic Legacy match, and of course he also turned up to the World Championship with an OpTic jersey on with OpTic in some respects. Now, to be honest, when this OpTic Legacy match happens, I was like 60% convinced they were going to use this as a location to announce Krim's return. It just seems somewhat inevitable. The only potential pitfall really is the relationship with the Rafa Racing Club that Krim races for, because OpTic have their partnerships they've sometimes done and continue to do in NASCAR, but is, a Rafa given Crimsix represents them, happy for him to also represent OpTic Gaming. It's obviously very different disciplines, so I don't really see why it would so much matter, but that may be a relevant factor. And like Rafa have given Kremp a lot of opportunities in the racing world, and that is the reality, is that's his ticket, isn't it, to get where he wants to be in the racing world. OpTic aren't, because OpTic aren't involved in driving race cars around Le Mans. So that's where Kremp's looking to go. But if a possibility is there to become part of the OpTic family again, I mean, you look at this image, you see the current OpTic team, the legacy OpTic team, and then Hex in the middle. Like, all of these guys are in OpTic, but Crimsix, right? And it felt somewhat inevitable. We know that Kremp and the OpTic fans, like, and even Scump and Formula, like, they had a bit of a falling out a couple of years ago, when it felt like Kremp was slightly more jaded with the state of the scene. Obviously, as of late, that's changed. He's now back in business, and it's great to see that. And Hex, as always, maintains that the doors are potentially open to Kremp to return at some point. So, the theory goes that's what's going to happen reasonably soon. But as I say, this has been a thing for some time, that Kremp's not been affiliated with FaZe, so why hasn't it been confirmed yet? So I guess that would be the question that might well be asked, and well, certainly answered relatively soon indeed. So intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below on that one, but I wanted to share a couple of clips here for what's going on with Shotzzy, because this guy's been a menace over the last few days. The big drama has been, one of the big dramas, is the AR versus SMG meta, how the two weapon classes align, whether the SMGs are underpowered, whether they're overpowered. The ARs definitely dominated the game right at the start, but as we know, that has somewhat changed over the last couple of days, given the nerfs and buffs that came through. Now we're starting to see reinforced barrel back in business, although there's been some discussion that maybe that attachment isn't even that good either. So, look, the SMGs are starting to dominate a little bit more. We're seeing it from the JAKAL, for example. Not gonna lie, I've always thought the JAKAL was absolutely class. Now, look, maybe it got outclassed, technically, by the ARs on release, but now the JAKAL is looking very nice indeed. So I'm sure there are some ARs, especially maybe the likes of SlasheR, who has been known to be part of the GA committee, as it were. Him and aCuRacy were known to be part of the GA committee, or as it were, GA commissioners, basically, when they were at least part of the process on deciding what things would be banned and allowed by the pro players. So aCuRacy is now out of the league, but he's kind of not. He is the coach of Cloud9. Would you be surprised if Cloud9's representative in the GA representative group chat is aCuRacy, their coach, rather than a player? I wouldn't be surprised at all, personally. Who knows? I mean, I think it's been attached for Vegas, so maybe attaches in there, I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if Lamar is as well. And SlasheR, I'd imagine, could be getting involved again. I know that he said, oh, well, it's not the SlasheR World League anymore. He's stepping away from getting involved in that type of stuff. But still, there might be some interest in him getting involved. So I think that's the debate on these SMGs, especially when Shotzy's pulling off clips like this.
I'll see him on time.
Yeah, on me.
Nice.
Okay, we flipped. Watch RV.
RV.
They're both on RV. Yeah, one there.
Good job.
I know.
Right there. Push it there.
Real went zip. He went low. No, he didn't. I think he did Real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's there. He's on me.
Bro.
Oh my fuck!
No way. He did that. Kremp's back house.
I'm holding zip.
One in tower.
I'm hitting their zip.
One tower. Nice.
Fuck.
Oh my god.
Kill the Halo zip.
Did we flip him?
Maybe flip.
No,
Might have flipped one.
Tower weak. Make it a fucking montage. Nice.
Oh, he got me outer step.
It's alright.
I'll be playing the B boys.
Oh, down goes Havoc.
Dude, I'm not gonna be able to play the game. This is insane. I should.
Oh my god, he's
Shit on.
astounding me.
You win this. You win this.
Or something. Don't tweak. Son.
1 HP.
you have 0
1
HP.
Don't tweak.
I'm sounding so hard for you.
What? Top of the steps.
Never
That's
tell me
not
ever
him.
again.
Like I was involved. You saw him.
Well,
Fry him.
Tony!
Wow, that guy's pissed down his
come on, Tony.
leg, bro.
Come on, Tony.
That just pissed down his fucking leg.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, I
that's
can't
a poor
believe you did
guy.
not CheLy right here. You're a one-y.
Just sat there and wide till death.
Leave me alone. Both, all of you, please.
No one's team killing you, bro.
And it wasn't just Shotzzy doing some serious damage here with the SMG. Hook was at it as well. And that was a pretty exciting possibility as well for Hook, right? Because we know that his potential return to the COD League might not be that far away. One of the players that we thought might keep a spot this year, of course, he was on Seattle Surge last year. Now they're going to be Vancouver. But there was a theory, and maybe an understandable theory, that, yeah, Hook needs to stay around the league. That isn't happening as it stands. He's been replaced by Hicksy, effectively, and we'll see how Surge do this season. But Hook is definitely one of those players who look, he has his problems as a player, we know that, but in terms of pure talent and skill ceiling, there's probably no one better to get than Hook in and around the league at the moment in terms of talent that you could potentially sign. So, like, is Hook ever going to be part of a championship winning roster again? I'm not so sure personally, but nonetheless, is he a player that could and should be in the league? I would probably argue yes, but it depends what team you're talking about and what roster changes they may or may not need to make. But there is a feeling that Hook, especially on this game, the way this game is, the movement and everything, it does suit Hook very well. Like, I am surprised, I think, given what we knew this game was going to be, that no one said, all right, Hook, let's give you a spot. Same with a guy like Capsidal as well. I feel like he was a player that certainly players or teams could have looked at to potentially sign. But yeah, from the Shotzzy point of view, wow, this guy is out of control. The movement in this game, the diving around the corners with the pistol, with the SMG, so hard to stop. And it's understandable that a guy like SlasheR, an AR player, is thinking, wow, this game plays too fast, it caters too much to the SMGs. The ARs can't get to the head glitches in times, can't get to the power position to shut some of these guys down. Now, like SlasheR made the point the other day, we need to experiment with a higher time to kill. Game is playing super fast right now, which it is, and I think from an entertainment perspective, that isn't a problem at all. But look, the players might be onto something here when SlasheR says this, but of course the argument is, oh, well, here goes SlasheR getting fried again an ace by Shotzzy, and now he's going to be moaning about whether a game situation needs to change. Look, I think SlasheR might have a point, but equally, I do enjoy watching a fast-paced Call of Duty game. I think generally it makes things more fun and more exciting to watch from a viewer perspective, although it might not be the best version of competitive COD that there is on offer, but guys like Shotzzy are going to thrive in that sort of chaos, and you need players, I think certainly in this game, even if you increase the respawn delay, I think you need players in this particular title that can thrive in those chaotic situations. Shotzzy, as we most certainly have seen and know, is one of those players. Just one final thing I thought was pretty funny going around, really. So, OpTic, we know that they came second in that tournament the other day, the K-Town Showdown one, and they said, well, look, we did pretty well given the fact that we weren't really scrimming as early as some other teams were. And obviously we discussed that yesterday, because historically that's not mattered that much to OpTic. They tend to do very well at the first major anyway, but it is a talking point. But Falcons, they're still out in Saudi right now. They're not even getting to the US yet, ready for the new season, which is a problem because their scrims come against Saudi players and against some European teams on bad ping. So it's not a great start for the Falcons guys, really, because the game's launched now, scrims are happening, and they're not there to really capitalize on it. So I think there is a very decent possibility that when the season does officially get underway, they are somewhat behind the curve. But very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.
60 seconds.
Whoa! Yo, Stream, did you just see that? Yo!
Bro, that just shook
Oh
the
my
whole
god! Bro, that lightning strike is insane. Bro, my whole building's rumbling. My whole building's rumbling.
Yeah,
Bro, my whole building's rumbling. I swear to God. Yo, I'm actually myself. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, that lightning strike was insane.